2 fingers gone, but I had to get back to it. You don't give up on a dream.
For him to make a mistake like that very early on with a massive consequence makes us feel like he's actually incapable of doing this.
There's stakes.
Yeah, there are stakes.
Isn't that so cute? It's like, okay, whimsical, like almost Wes Anderson.
We are actually feeling effort.
We need like a street suction.
This is the YouTube I want more of.
Okay, so this video is by Jordan Studdard. It's called Moving Into My Dream NYC Studio. I'm very into studio tours, so anything where people are kind of taking us through their creative space is really interesting to me. But turns out that this one has a little bit of a twist, so it's a little more whimsical.
I started with this to get to here, and eventually to this. Just a mock-up.
Okay, I'm sold.
Right?
Here we go. I'm in.
So I love anything with physical props. That just kind of really reels me into the story. And the fact that he created this whole like detailed diorama of what his future studio will look like. Because we can see it's not quite there yet. But it kind of shows like what his plans are for the space. That just like hooked me. I was like, I'm staying till the end.
The details too, down to like the books.
Look at the individual books. That's crazy. And this little hanging plant.
Oh my gosh.
One thing, there's a really consistent background. So I don't know if you shot out the same window again and then they just put this in frame. So we're getting that match cutting. It's just that power of free. So there's one.
I started with this to get to here,
2,
and eventually to this.
Yeah.
Just a mock-up.
Set up, reaffirm the pattern, and then sometimes you could either break the pattern or confirm the pattern. And he does that really, really well here. And I think also it kind of, the fact it's in a diorama style, and then him kind of looking down and into it kind of make me feel like I'm in his head in a way. Like I understand his vision straight away.
For now. The first day I moved into this studio.
Love.
Right? Isn't that so cute?
Yes.
It's like, okay, whimsical, like almost Wes Anderson vibe. The little like, everything's kind of feeling analog. The ropes coming down. He could have just done like a text graphic or something, but he built this little name card for day one and lowered it.
So what it is we're actually feeling effort.
Yeah.
It's like, you're right, he could have just grabbed just a text graphic off a stock website, but he actually made that himself and he put it in camera, and there's just something so much more endearing and believable when something is done in camera compared to when it's actually done in editing.
Task was to dampen the sound and give the studio a tough workshop floor for building.
Love music, time lapse. This is very well motivated. It's like,
So there, I don't know if you caught that, but we moved from his diorama floor into the real floor.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Wait.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So he's like showing how he's building it.
Oh, I see.
oh.
There it is.
Oh, you little
Sneaky guy.
You
But it's like
cheeky.
showing it kind of in the same proportion as like the real floor.
Well, again, so the diorama is like his imagination, like how he wants it to be, and it's like something for us to also track as well. Oh, that's fantastic details.
So we're kind of eventually going to get that crazy like before and after of his white shoebox into the diorama filled with like books and cool shelves and stuff.
Show me.
Love the music.
It's beautiful.
The next step was to build the loft. Oh no.
So
I love stop motion.
the claymation fingers.
Did not go according to plan.
No.
But it's done with comedy.
Oh my god.
And then he's showing that he's going right back into the studio after so that it doesn't like stop him
Did
from...
he actually?
He did.
2 fingers gone, but
Yeah, a lot of people thought that was fake. It's real, and that camera placement is very intentional.
For him to make a mistake like that very early on with a massive consequence, narratively and emotionally makes us feel like he's actually incapable of doing this. For him to make that...
There's stakes.
Yeah, there are stakes. He can get himself hurt doing this, and he's already paid a price doing this. Now there is this interesting element of tension of like, can he actually pull this off, or is he going to get himself hurt even more?
And it does make everything after the fact more difficult because he's like building this crazy loft with just one hand, so he has to call in some friends.
That's excellent storytelling. But please, everyone, don't
Oh, yeah,
start
you
cutting
don't
off.
have to cut your
Be
fingers.
safe. Keep the safety on. Really quickly, let's listen to what he says right after he cuts his fingers off.
2 fingers gone, but I had to get back to it. You don't give up on a dream.
I love it.
2 fingers gone, but I had to get back to it. You don't give up on a dream.
Yep, says everything about his character.
And we're like a quarter of the way in. We're like, this guy will stop at nothing. He's going to carry us through. He keeps a finger bone as a little trophy behind this blade. Like, the visuals of that are just gnarly.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. Let's keep going.
I wanted to fill the library with everything. Encyclopedias on art, science, poetry, old works, new books. Anything to spark an idea.
Oh, that is a vibe.
And then take these ideas upstairs.
Love the little
Where
camera cranking upwards thing. That is like the most Wes Anderson thing in the world to me.
It made me question, wait, am I looking at the diorama or am I looking at the actual studio? And I think it just helped connect those two worlds even more. And I think also that's just such a great reveal shot. And again, super simple. Either he had like a tripod with one of those single legs that you can crank up and you can just crank it up, or he probably had
He built like a pulley system.
or even put a pulley system, yeah. It's like this is a really good testament of like sometimes just the simplest version is the better version.
I think it's a good point where you say that it feels like we're in his diorama now, and maybe part of that is that he's really small in the frame. I don't know if he's ever been like that tiny, and he's like kind of climbing up, so we're seeing like more sections of it.
It's giving like Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Yeah.
bring these ideas to life and eventually film them. I'll need another spot to edit them.
Oh my god.
All of a sudden, there's a plane.
What?
Coat of paint and an actual airplane window. It'll fly with maximum altitude of like 8 feet.
Oh my god.
Great visual humor there.
I kind of like that section because he's just including more of like the minor building struggles. It wouldn't have been as satisfying, I feel like, if he just got the door on and
Yeah, and it's
smoothly,
square now too.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the first act, even though it's a very short video, the first act of this video had some really good pacing where he kind of had to skip some time to kind of get us into the flow. But then once we're now in the story, he actually can spend some more time on the real moments. If the airplane thing was in the first 30 seconds, or the first like minute, the first 20 seconds, this would have been essentially a jump cut beat. But now we are getting that experience. All right, let's get going.
Cool.
That's fun.
One small step for man.
Good
I'm also
character.
like stop doing things to hurt yourself even more. I'm like, you're gonna fall.
There needs to be a railing or something. Yeah. But he does kind of have these like silly moments throughout where we kind of feel like we're learning more about like his personality. So he's like, one small step for man.
It's like, he's comedy. He's not taking this too seriously. He's actually having fun with this.
Yeah.
Making a joke like that. It's like, if he's having fun, we're having fun.
Up here we've got a full-on airplane chair from some guy in Florida that sells them on eBay. Fully retractable tray table, just enough room for these two guys. We've got a cup holder here just in case.
So as an editor, how would you rank his setup?
You've allowed me to go on a little bit of a mini rant, actually. There's so many editors in this editor space that have the most ridiculous editing setup known to man.
30 monitors.
30 monitors, like an ultra wide. I got an ultra wide, but it's like, there's like. It's kind of obnoxious because we know visually as editing influencers, we have to showcase how cool our editing setup is. But I just still edit on a MacBook. I don't use the editing setup I've got. I just use that for aesthetics. I will admit that now.
Ooh,
but
you heard it first. Breaking news.
So the best editors that I know just edit on a computer. They just edit they just want a little corner, their laptop or just their or their iMac, and they just get the job done. And this is a really, really great example of that.
Well, what's interesting is the plane feels like so much effort. Like, why did he have to do this? But then we realize once he shuts it, he's like, I'm shut off from the outside world.
Yeah.
This is my key, like, the whole point is that it lets me concentrate. So
Yeah.
we see that there's a point to like the actual form of it all.
As an editor, I can relate to this. It's been kind of weird with some of my best editing sessions I've ever had. It was on a 10-hour flight.
That's a great point. He's recreating the flight
I didn't
editing
think about
flow
that.
here. Yeah.
Exactly, because like when you're on that plane, you're cut off on the internet, you're locked in, and so he's genuinely is recreating that feeling. And so for him to then create that atmosphere and that environment, that makes me really respect him as an editor, that he understands how to get into flow state.
Studio monitor, privacy screen, so I'm like fully shut out that way. And then whenever you're ready,
As an introvert, this is
close
awesome.
that.
Oh my god,
And
I
you're
want
locked
this
in.
space. I'm gonna build this
But
myself.
You still have a view if you need. With
Yep.
the airplane done, I just needed to
And
put
then
together the
fast,
workshop.
and then we're back into
Same
some
Yeah,
fast.
you're totally right. Yeah, super slow plane door, and then it just goes tool, cool animation around.
Just, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, really great, aggressive, contrasting pace, and it's such a nice touch. But it's a really fantastic re-engaging tool.
Well, I also really like that he's not like talking to the camera. Like there is voiceover,
Yeah.
but even that is like I like that we are just kind of like almost like a security camera, like just watching.
Oh yeah, fly on the wall kind of
fly
thing.
on the
Yeah.
wall, yes. So that it's like we're like a friend sitting and watching him.
I think by not talking directly to camera, he lets us take in the like awesome details of his studio a lot more.
Yes.
Like the number of times that I've just paused and been like, let's see every tool on that wall there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Videos. The tools arranged around an idea.
The tools arranged around an idea and it's a light bulb. The symbolism, like I don't think I've ever seen anyone organize their tools in like a circular shape like that too. So that's just visually kind of engaging by itself. But the fact that it's a light bulb, I just love that.
This is the YouTube I want more of.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
And he only has like 13,000 subscribers. I'm
Oh
like,
my
this guy needs
gosh.
more attention.
Those 4 pillars give the studio its function. But it's the little details and bits from past videos that give it its form.
So
Together.
those are all from previous like short form, I think, TikToks that he's made, because that's actually where I discovered him. So like that mannequin with the notebook, like people who watch his stuff will recognize those little props making their way into his real studio.
Oh, that's fantastic, because
Yeah.
a lot of shorts creators are struggling to translate their audience over into long form on YouTube.
Yeah, I think he's done that really well.
All these details help take an empty white box.
It's gonna be match
and
cut.
turn it
Yep, I
into
saw it.
Yep,
I
yep,
saw it.
yep, yep. Heck yeah.
Saw
So
it
that
coming.
was just so satisfying.
I feel like we got so much inspiration from that. I feel so inspired of just the trials and tribulations of just being a creative.
I've been inspired. I want to completely redesign my home studio now.
Me too.
Makes you want to start a project, right?
Yeah. I feel like even though this video is like less than 2 minutes, I feel like I know everything about him because of just the world and his world that he showed me. And just that, and all of it is done with the visual progression. All of it is done with just the visual representations. A lot of it's with the metaphors. A lot of it is with the camera work. And this is probably one of the best story showing videos I think I have ever seen on YouTube. This was magnificent.
Yeah, I think his storytelling is so visually rich that
Story
I'm just,
showing.
his story showing
story showing.
is so visually rich. Every frame there's something interesting to look at, and I'm sold on whatever projects he makes in the future.
Absolutely. I'm subscribing.